Hi all, and welcome to my series of videos to explain the new features in version 6.0. Due to the scope of the work, we're going to be doing this over 4 videos. In this video, we're going to cover linked option lists. In the second video, we'll cover the document management functionality, which will include tags, binders, personal document folder, and the user folder summary. In the third video, we'll cover document generation, adding templates to process flows. And in the final video, we'll cover the email options, which includes mail server sending limits, option to enable or disable the IMAP partial fetch, and search inbox function, and download all the attachments in one go. So let's move on to our linked option list. So what is a linked option list? It's basically a shared list which can be used to update and synchronize option attributes in other areas in the system. For example, your views and your processes. Multiple views even, multiple processes, and even multiple attributes within the same process or view that are linked to the shared linked list. Let's go to WorkPool so we can see how this function is used. Okay, so the linked option list will be found in the directory administration section. You'll see we've added a new item under directory configuration for maintaining the linked option list. In order to add a new list, you're going to create a new linked list. Let's give it a name. You can give it a description if you so feel, and we save it. As with any option attribute in views and in processes, we'll now go and add the options related to this list. So let's create a new linked list item, and we'll put our US dollars in there. And let's create for pounds. Right, so now we have a list with 2 options in that list. Now we want to use this in a directory view. So let's go into our directory view so that we can see how to use this. So in your view, we are going to create a new attribute. Again, just give it a name as you normally do when you're creating new attributes, and we want to make the attribute type an option list. So we have our new attribute, which is a standard option list. We don't want a standard option list, however, we want this to be linked to our linked list item. So we are going to go back to edit that attribute, and this time you'll see 2 new buttons have appeared. First one is to convert to a shared linked list, the second one to merge with a shared linked list. The difference between the two is converting to a shared linked list means the linked list does not exist as yet, and we are going to create a linked list from an existing option attribute. Merge with a shared linked list means that the linked list does exist, and we just want to merge this particular attribute with that linked list. So in this case, we're going to use the merge. It will then ask you which linked list, and when you click your down arrow, it gives you a list of all your linked list. So let's select our currency, and it shows us that it's going to add the USD and the GBP to our view, and we say merge the list. Now we've got currency, and you will notice that it no longer says option, but it says linked list. And when we click on that item, it takes us to the linked list edit attribute as opposed to the edit attribute. Same thing will apply when you go and add this attribute into your processes. Go to your process designer, and we're going to pick up our process. We're going to, sorry, wrong place. And we're going to edit the attribute, and we're going to add an attribute. Again, we make it an option, and then we edit the attribute, merge with your shared linked list, and we select our currency list and merge. When we go look back at our linked list now, in our currency, we can see that it's linked to the view definition, supplier, as the option attribute name currency with the display name of currency, and to the process definition attribute under the hardware quotation version 4, the option attribute name is currency. So that is how it is linked. Now you'll notice that you do not have the ability to delete this option list because it is linked to other views. I'll show you later how to delete your linked list should you require it. So let's go to our directory and we say we want to add a new supplier, and there we can see our currency and we can see that it already has those two options. So if we now had to go back and edit our linked option list and we say we want to add a new item called ZAR, when I go back to my directory, you can see immediately my option list has been updated with the ZAR. So I'm updating it in one central place and it will update both my process and my view definition. So what happens if I have an existing view that has an option list that I now want to share because I'm going to create a process with that? So if we go into our view, business, we've got this legal entity type option, which is a standard option list. I can go there and I can say I want to convert my normal option list to be a shared linked list. Now you'll see that legal entity type has become a linked list, and when I go back to my linked option list, I now have a new linked list there, which is legal entity type that already contains all those options. I can now go into my process and I can merge. I can create a new attribute there, which I can now merge with this list, and that way I'm using one central list for both my process and my view as again. Then you can get another scenario, and that is I have a linked list item here, region, where I've got Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, and Western Cape. I've also got a view definition where I've got an attribute called region, and in this particular case I have Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and Gauteng. Now I want to create one universal list to be used in multiple places. So how would I go about doing this? Well, if we go to our view and we say we want to merge this with a shared linked list, and we select our linked list, you'll see now that it's duplicating some of the entries. Eastern Cape there's 2 of, Western Cape there are 2 of. The pluses indicate this is what is going to be added to your view. The ones without the plus is because they already exist in the view. But I don't want 2 Eastern Capes and 2 Western Capes, so how do I get rid of that? On the right hand side is your actual view attributes. So the best way to overcome this is to go in, your 3 little lines give you some editing options where we can either edit the attribute, we can add a child, or we can assimilate. We want to edit this attribute and we want to ensure that the name is the same as the linked list name. When we save Our plus has disappeared and we've only got one Eastern Cape with the option name as being EC. Let's do the same for Western Cape. So we're going to edit this and we're going to call it WC, exactly the same as our linked list. And now the second Western Cape has also disappeared. So in this particular case, we are only going to be adding Northern Cape to our existing view. Now we can merge the list. So when I go and I look back at my linked list, I've now got 4 attributes in there. It includes Gauteng, which was on my view, but it was not on my linked list. By the same token, when I go and create when I go and add a new client, you can see that my list has all 4 and there's no duplications. Now, as I showed you in the previous screen, the moment you have linked a list to views, you cannot, or processes, it shows you on that linked list that it's linked and it will not allow you to delete it. How you would delete it is firstly you would unlink it from your view and from your process, and then it comes up and allows you to delete it. You don't have to worry about it taking away the option list that is on there, because if we go back now and we go and look at the view definition where we added our currency, you'll see that the currency is still there, but it's reverted back to being a normal option list. And when we go and look in that option list, all the options that were in the linked list are still in your attribute, but they are no longer linked, so you will not be able to update them in your linked list and have them updating here. You can also export your linked list. When you export a linked list, it comes up as a text, as a JSON, in JSON format. So if you've got the JSON software, you'll be able to edit this and probably copy and paste and create a new one. And the other nice thing is that we can now import a linked list. So if you're transferring between databases, or if it's a shared list that you may want to use for other clients, you can now export it and you can import it into your main system.